All right, so should we start? Y'all ready? Yeah, no answer. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. MashaAllah, it has been a while since I've been here. I think it was last Ramadan. I've been on the road or under it. I'm not sure exactly which one. Sometimes it feels like I'm under the road. Like I'm here tonight and then tomorrow I'm gone again. So MashaAllah, it just keeps going that way. Jazakumullah khair for the invitation. Brother Muhammad Qadi should know better than to call me Sheikh. But I love him, so we let it slide, inshallah. I guess because when this place started, I was one of the first speakers, and my brother Abu Shahada, who's here as well, were among the first speakers to speak here. So alhamdulillah, I kind of grew up with Masjid Farooq, as it were. And wanted to deliver this topic, fast or famine. So these are just things that you can apply if you're not already applying them to maximize your fasting, and certain things that you can avoid that would nullify and harm your fasting. Because really, honestly, this is a month that is extremely special. It's extremely special that it only comes around once a year, but not only that, because every month comes once a year, but this is the month of rahmah, this is the month of mercy, this is the month of blessings, and you hear that all the time, but I don't think we truly encompass that, or we truly understand that the speciality of this month, that Allah has blessed us. Allah has helped us by sending us the Quran. And you know, there's a statement of sincerity, that it's a sign of sincerity when you help people who cannot benefit you in anything. And Allah has helped us, and really we can't benefit Allah in anything. So it's important that we take this month as special as it is, as much as humanly possible. And that starts with a good intention. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Is that right? وَكَمَا قَالَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم, said every action is judged by intention. You know the hadith. It's a very famous hadith that's beginning a lot of the books of Sahih al-Hadith. So why is it that we tend to say weird things when people ask us why we fast? Some of the things you might hear is, well, we would like to feel what the poor people feel. Have you heard this over the years? Right? It's silly, right? Isn't it? Is it silly? Can the poor people break their poverty at Maghrib? No, they can't. How many homeless people do you know that walk the streets go, wow, I can't wait till Maghrib. I get something to eat around here. I've been begging all day. Right? No, people don't do that. You go to the Rohingya camps. Do they get to wait for Maghrib to break their poverty? So fasting, really to feel what poor people feel is kind of offensive if you're poor, right? Because you don't get to, it's like telling me, okay, well, I want to know what blind people feel, so I'm going to cover my eyes for 5 minutes. That's actually quite obnoxious if you think about it, because the whole 5 minutes you'll be thinking about removing your hands from your eyes, whereas blind people can't do that. The whole day you're thinking, I can't wait till Maghrib so I don't have to feel what these poor people feel anymore. It's kind of silly in a sense. Like if you saw a car accident, may Allah protect you all from that, and someone gets hit by a car, wala'udhu billah, do you immediately want to jump in front of a moving vehicle to feel what they felt? Right? Do you do that? No, right? That'd be silly. And there'd be 2 people in the hospital instead of 1. The best way to help the poor is to not be among them. So this is not why we fast. What about health benefits? Oh brother, I can't wait to fast in order to lose weight. Right? Lose the big belly. The problem is that we gorge ourselves in the night, so we don't actually lose weight, we end up gaining it. So that's not really a good, although there are health benefits to fasting, and I'm not saying there isn't, but the reason why we fast, and your intention and my intention, verbally as well, because non-Muslims know better than that. Actually, this idea of feeling what the poor people felt was debunked by an atheist. I heard that when an atheist asked one of our brothers and said, why do you starve yourself all day in Ramadan? He said, well, We want to feel what the poor people feel. So the atheist said, well, why don't you feed them and then they can feel what you feel? Right? So that's why I thought that was a silly answer in a sense. So we fast for one reason. Allah Ta'ala said to us after we say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اللهم اجعلنا من الذين آمنوا. That's you, inshallah. That's me. We believe, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah make us from amongst those people who believe in what He said and in His authentic sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Kutiba alaykum as-siyam. This is an order by Allah. So Allah has ordered you to fast. And fasting is something that is specific. As-sawmu li wa ana ajzi bi. Allah said, fasting is for me and I reward for it. So yes, those other side things may be there. But your first and foremost reason why you fast, and you should be verbal about it. Tell the non-Muslims if they ask you, why do you fast? Because I've been ordered to by Allah. Say that. Don't say things like, well, God said so. Allah is more than just God. God is what the people worship. Allah is whom they should worship. Anything can be God, really. Can it? Can't it? Statues can be God, sticks can be God, stones, people, celebrities, money. But Allah is the aliyah, the one that we should be worshipping, and that's His rightful name. So tell the people that. Don't be ashamed to say His name, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has ordered you to fast. Say it that way to them. I mean, don't be rude about it, but say it that way. Because no one can argue with you about that. If Allah told you to do something, then they can disagree with you, but they can't really debunk your statement, can they? Why the sisters cover? Because Allah ordered them to do so. Why do you pray 5 times a day? Because Allah ordered you to do so. Why do you give in sadaqah? Because Allah Ta'ala ordered you to do so. Why do you fast in the month of Ramadan? Hey, it took a while, brothers, mashallah. This is not like your speech where you sleep for 45 minutes and go eat something, right? This is like a bit interactive, inshallah. It's not your uncle's da'wah session. Those of you who know me know that. That's why a lot of the people have left, because they don't want to be picked on. Right? So you fast for that reason. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So that you might get taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You might get closer to Him. You might learn more about Him and love Him more and attain His mercy. Jalla wa ala. So don't be afraid of that. Don't be ashamed to say it that way. And if the side things, you lose a little bit of weight and your health benefits increase, mashallah, that's a side thing. But you fast for the sake of Allah. Number 2, get to know the one that you're fasting for. A lot of us don't really know about Tawheed that much. What do we say? La ilaha illallah, what does it mean? No God but God? Is that what people say? That there is nothing worthy of worship. It's a negation and an affirmation. La ilaha is a negation. You're negating all the other gods that the people worship. Illallah, and the affirmation is that of all those gods that the people worship, there is nothing, no one rightly deserving of that worship except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His lordship, His attributes, your worship is directed towards Him, so learn about Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do you love someone if you don't know them? How do you worship someone if you don't know them? Subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'll tell you, the more that you get to know Allah, the more you'll want to know about Him. So this may seem very basic and very elementary, but I think that most of the time we need to be basic and elementary in our dealings with people, generally. So get to know the one that you're fasting for. The oneness of Allah, His complete, perfect oneness. That there's nothing comparable to Him, that He's not human, that Allah is not a man and a woman, and Allah is not black and not white. Allah transcends all royalty. Today there was a wedding. So He is the true King of Kings, Jalla wa ala. There's nothing like Him. And this month of mercy is the time when He will, inshallah, save you from the hellfire. Allahumma ajirna minan nar. Alright, we get up, many of us get up to watch royal weddings and miss tahajjud because of it. You know what else happened on May 19th? Who else knows? You know? Of course you know. I told you already, and you knew before I told you. All right, brother, since no one's taking the ball, what else happened on May 19th? Jazakallah khair. No, on May 19th? The Sheikh was born. That's right. Malcolm X, rahimahullah, was born today. Better than royalty, right? But we get up and we comment on dresses and comment on all this stuff, and the blessed moments of Tahajjud are going by. Get closer to the one who you fast for. Number 3, his book. Don't race through it. Have you ever seen this? And I don't think they do it here. Jazakallah khair, the brother came from far, and I don't believe that the Libyans do that. But you hear people read the Quran when they say things like, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alif Lam Mim, Dhalika al-kitabu la rayba fihi hudan lil muttaqin, alladhina yu'minuna bil ghaybi wa yuqimuna as-salata wa mimma razaqnahum yunfiqun. Have you seen this? Racing, like the Qari is now Donovan Bailey, right? He just races straight through. And they finish it very quickly without understanding. Al-ibra bil ma'ani. The lesson is in the meaning of it. So when you're reading the Quran this month, inshallah, try to take time out to read it. Because how else are you going to get to know Allah if you don't know His book or get familiar with His book? And this is the month where this book was revealed, as you know. But this is the month where Allah sent the Quran down to us. So don't just let it collect dust on your bookshelf. You know, we have people that have to dust off the Quran, but the TV is clean, right? The TV gets the 80, 90-inch TV gets wiped every single week, mashallah. Because God forbid, when Muhammad Salah scores a goal, you miss it. Right? Subhanallah. God forbid, but your Quran is dusty. You have to literally almost wash it when you take it down from the high shelf. But the TV is clean. I know a sister, Jazakallah khair, at the first of Ramadan, she puts paper and tape over the TV screen, so no one's allowed to use it for the whole month. MashaAllah. Maybe we should start doing that, you know, just tape up the TV for the month. Right? Then we'll see how hard fasting really is. It's easy to stay away from baklavas, but don't make me miss my favorite show. Don't make me miss the playoffs, brothers. Right? So try to get closer to this book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed it to us. And it didn't benefit him to do that. It benefits us to read it and to benefit from it. That's number 3. Number 4, generosity. Brothers, okay, here he goes. Here's his money pitch, right? This is where he's asking us for money. We have to stop looking at charity in terms of money, in terms of us giving and other people receiving, because then you'll get tired. If someone told you to invest in something and it was a guarantee, like you had a time travel thing and you could go back to like 1980 and invest in Apple, knowing what you know today, would you do it? Would you do it? You'd have the cool little iPhones and just say, oh yeah, they're going to make a lot of money, bro. You take out $10,000 and buy shares. You know there was a janitor that invested in Apple and he's a millionaire today. You know that, right? Well, I have something better than that for you. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you something, is it true or not? It's true, right? Would you make Allah, you know how when you're a kid and your dad tells you he's going to buy you ice cream, you say, promise? Right? And your dad says, inshallah, and you know he's not going to get it for you because he said inshallah. He plays the inshallah game. Kids know what I'm talking about. What's your name, brother? Huh? Abdurrahman. Does your dad play the inshallah game? Yes. Oh, wow. He put his dad out there too in front of him. He used to say no, mashallah. So, his dad plays the inshallah game. Jazakallah khair ya Abu Abdurrahman. Allah yarda alayk. So, you wouldn't do that to Allah. Promise? Allah Ta'ala has said to us, وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. See, this is the thing. Let's stop here. Whatever you put forward for yourself. So when you help the brother who's homeless, myself and the Sheikh Abu Shahada, We were traveling with one brother who was homeless for the last couple of weeks, and we managed to find him a place today. Akramahumullah. You're not doing that. We didn't do that for him. It wasn't for him that we did that. You are investing in yourself in this life. If someone told you that they're going to store your wealth for you, and when you die, you're going to get it, inshallah, you might not believe them, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that. Ibn Qayyim, I believe it was, rahimahullah, has said, store your wealth in the sama, in the heavens, where the thieves cannot steal it, and the birds cannot eat from it, and the wind cannot destroy it. When we give, it is not the people, it's not us being benevolent to the people, it's Allah being benevolent to us, because He could have chosen anyone else to do that. He could have chosen anyone else to help that brother. Anyone else. There's 6 billion people on the earth. Allah is not short of choices. So when the people come to you this year, whether it be the dawah program, whether it be my work, whether it be the sheikh and his Muslim youth media helping the kids, the Mihrab Center, whether it is the phase 2 of the masjid, try to help everyone. Even if it's a little. But don't look at it as you're doing them a favor. Allah has given you the opportunity to do that. And Allah doesn't have to do that. Allah can go and ask anyone. SubhanAllah. So be generous. And Muhammad ﷺ was the most generous during the month of Ramadan. Purchase paradise, لو بالشق التمر, even with half a date. Something. Right? Beggars can't be choosers, but givers can. So when you give for the sake of Allah, know that it's an investment. You're putting it down on your mortgage, inshallah, fil Jannah. And those who are asking you are not beggars, they are real estate agents for the Jannah. Trying to sell you a little bit of real estate. You're helping them and they benefit, but you benefit more. Inshallah ta'ala. وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ مِنْ خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوهُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. Whatever you put forward for yourself with good. تَجِدُوهُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ هُوَ خَيْرٌ وَأَعْظَمَ أَجْرًا. You will find it with Allah. He is better and tremendous at reward. Alright, so don't look at it as us doing favors for people. Look at it as Allah is bestowing His favor on us by giving us the opportunity to help. Zakatul Fitr is coming. Don't wait until the last minute, inshallah, to deal with that. Pay it before. As soon as you see the box, pay that one, inshallah. And we get into a little bit more of the comical ones now, because sometimes we tend to be very hungry at the end of the day and we overeat, don't we? We don't do that, do we? Do we overeat? We don't play the inshallah game either. Do we overeat? A little bit, right? Gulab jamuns and barfis and laddus and kebabs and all that good stuff. I'll stop now. Brothers looking at me like I'm a kebab up here, man. Shoot, it's about time. Less is more sometimes, because Ramadan is definitely a marathon. So you don't want to be up, devouring half the world and then trying to pray, and you have to make your wudu every second rak'ah. Right? Right? That's hard when you're in the front row. You won't get that front row again, right? Or the garlic thing. Have you ever done that? Have you ever stood beside someone and then all of a sudden you'll hear and you know what they ate for iftar, right? Don't do that. Please don't do that, brothers. Jazakumullah. Karramallahu wajhukum. Don't do that. Nas'alullah ta'ala feekum. Cut down on the garlic, because you're being a fitna on the people. Muhammad ﷺ even said that to us, not to come to the masjid after we've eaten a lot of that. Because, it's a fitna on the people. You're standing and praying, and all of a sudden, you get this odor. It's not a good deal. So be easy with the people, inshallah. Right? I know some of our cultures, we like eating these things, so try to keep it to a minimum. Jazakumullah khair. And be easy with us. Also, get to know each other. We have a growing trend in the city that I've seen, where people aren't even returning the salams anymore. Wow, have you seen this? You'll tell a brother, Assalamu alaikum, and he'll shake his head at you. I mean, I can't see, so they told me that. But, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Is it hard? Is it hard to answer the salams? Not only is it not hard, but it's your brother's right on you. It's his right that you give him back the salams. This is simple. This is for little kids, but adults are making the mistakes. Like you think that is, Brother Malik is giving us lecture for 5-year-olds. Well, when we behave like 5-year-olds, then the lecture applies, inshallah. Right? It's not hard. And I've seen, even today, me and the brother were traveling throughout the city. You tell a brother, Assalamu alaikum. Shake his head. Does this. I can't see that. How am I supposed to reply to that? I tell this story one time. I was walking in Niagara Falls. And it was back before 9/11, right? So I used to wear an all black thobe and a red helpa on my head, Tim boots. So you can imagine I'm walking through the streets like that. So all of a sudden I heard, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was so happy. I replied the same way. Big, loud salam. And he had the side curls. He was a Jewish guy. Giving me the salams. And I was so shocked. Because it's hard to get that from my brothers. That loud salam like that from across the street in Niagara Falls, no masjid, no nothing. He's giving me the loud salam, loud. So spread the peace. Muhammad said that. To spread the peace. Afshu salam bainakum. Simple. We want to conquer the world, yet we can't even conquer the fear of spreading the salam. You always hear Muslims will talk about Khilafah and this and we were great in Andalusia, and we were. How do you get back there again? What did they do to get that? وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. Whomsoever has obeyed Allah and who else? And who? His messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam has achieved the highest success that one could possibly hope to achieve. So when someone gives you the salam, small akhi, give it back to him. Get to know each other. Know that there are other people throughout the city. You have masjids here, you have the Turkish brothers at Anatolia, you have the Bosnians, you have Ta'limul Islam, you have the Somali brothers, you have a few little white people stuck in there who took Shahada back in 96. Right? You have the Caribbean brothers, you have everyone. Just get to know each other, learn about each other. And we all got different kinds of food. Not all of them have garlic, by the way, so you're good. You don't have to worry. I mean, white folks don't eat garlic that much. No garlic and meatloaf, right, Abu Shahada? That's right. That's right. So we're good. Just meet people, talk to people. Don't just sit with your own group of people. These things will maximize your Ramadan. You might get to know something about someone that you don't know. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. That the best of us in the sight of Allah are the ones who have taqwa. And if taqwa isn't only for one group, then you could find it anywhere, inshallah, among the people. Allahumma ja'alna min al-muttaqeen. Right? And leave off useless talk. One of the things that people tend to do is, let's say, for example, I was going to do that for this. There was a sister who needed funding. New Muslim sister, kicked out of her home, needed funding. She had GoFundMe, right? This GoFundMe stuff that's going on? Crowdfunding, mashallah. So people were helping her, and may Allah bless them and her. But then there are other people who didn't want to help, which is okay. You have the right to refuse anyone. But why would you talk about the sister? She's a scam. If you're not going to help, okay. Don't harm people. And this month of Ramadan, we need to really control our tongues, inshallah. If you don't like something, that's fine. But don't harm the people. Because it may be something beneficial for them. Useless talk, nonsense. I remember I used to sell perfume. This was a while back. This was early when I came to the city. So someone came and I had these bootleg, shouldn't be saying this here. These knockoffs, they weren't real. So they're $2 each. cheap. I had one person came to me, went through every single bottle of perfume. I had like 30 of them. It took like 40 minutes. Brother, this one is good. This one is good. It's okay. It's all right. But eventually they all start to smell the same. Do you know how many they bought? 0. Don't do stuff like that. Don't be involved in useless things. $2. Useless. Just don't do that. Don't get involved in wasteful talk. Muhammad ﷺ said, the one who doesn't stop his useful discussion, Allah is in no need of his being hungry and thirsty. Don't do that. Try to fast with your tongue as well. Isn't just about what you leave off from your food. Right? That's the last thing you want, is to be bankrupt in Ramadan. You fasted all this whole month, and the people you talked about come and take all your deeds away. Wow, would you like that? I wouldn't like that. You're fasting the whole month, then Yawm al-Qiyamah comes and, Ramadan 2018, and takes the whole thing away because you spent the whole month talking about that. Try to avoid that. And it is something reminder for that the reminder benefits the believers. And be on the lookout for Laylatul Qadr. When is Laylatul Qadr? Do you know? That's the narration, right? MashaAllah. Is it 27th? Not necessarily. You sure? Allahu A'lam. It could be. It could be. Maybe it was last year. Maybe it won't be this year. There's no narration that says it's 27th. Do you know that? That I know of. Sheikh, do you know of one? There's a few different verdicts. Okay. He'll talk about that tomorrow when he says wasting time is a crime. So his talk is going to be tomorrow, inshallah. But I want to tag him in every now and again. Some people look for it on the odd nights, as you said, brother said. Some people look at it in the last 10 nights. There's even a minority opinion that say it could be any night in Ramadan. So what if that's right? What if it's any night in Ramadan? Is it hard to pray a little every night? You cover all the bases that way. Right? You pray every night a little bit. You don't got to pray like 50 rak'ah every single night. You could pray 11 every night. 5, 7, 3. 3 rak'ah every single night in Ramadan is better than 11 once. Is that right? Even 3. MashaAllah. If you prayed 3 and you prayed every night, for sure you caught Laylatul Qadr, isn't it? That's a guarantee, inshallah. If you pray every night, 3 rak'ah, every night, then will you catch Laylatul Qadr? You will, right? But if you pray 30 rak'ah, and 30, and 30, and eventually you're going to get tired, maybe you're going to sleep 3 nights, 4 nights, you may catch it and you may not. May Allah allow us to catch it because it's worth 86 years. Do you know anyone that's lived for 86 years? You might know some people, right? I knew a lady that made it to 90, mashallah. My wife's grandmother, she's 100 and something. She's older than 86 years. But she hasn't prayed for 86 years. I don't think anyone has prayed for 86 years that's living today. 86 years, straight, mashallah. So catching that one night is equivalent to 86 years. So prioritize. You can miss your favorite show. You can miss the weddings or whatever madness. I'm going to get kicked out of Canada if I keep talking about them people. I need to stop. I'm Irish, so we have a bit of a vendetta. But Laylatul Qadr, once a year, you may or may not catch it. Try to catch that. If you miss the latest Bollywood movie, is it going to hurt you? Is it? It might help you. That stuff costs money now, right? So try your best, inshallah. Prioritize things. And I think that's one of the problems that we look at Islam and we look at the Quran and the Sunnah as things that we haven't seen. So we don't really value them, do we? But if we apply that logic, I haven't seen any one of you, but are you valuable? Don't look at it based on what you see. Don't look at it like that. Allah has told you something, and Allah has never lied to you. So Allah has never lied to you, therefore we should take what He says very, very seriously. And understand that your exams are important, but your final exam is more important. You can do a makeup for your high school or your college exam. You can't do a makeup for this life. Once it's done, brothers and sisters. That's it. So when you meet Allah, you'll always have some regret, but try your best to maximize these months. You're living in comfort here. You know, the air condition is on, Jazakallah khair, whoever did that, because it was getting very hot up here. You got the masjid, the carpet, you know, you're going to have food later. I don't know what's on the menu, but like, you know, the masjid provides, you know, Allah has allowed the masjid to provide all these things for you. Right? Yeah, it's a little bit warm outside. Brothers, well, the days are long. We used to complain about the cold days in January when we used to fast back then too, right? We always find a reason to complain. But we should always also find a reason to be grateful. Allah has given us so much. And our brothers and sisters are suffering in Palestine and Syria and other places like that. Right? Don't ever, it could always be worse. It could always be worse. And I'm telling you, helping someone who was borderline homeless opened my eyes to that. It can always be worse. And thank you, brother. If that's for me, tell them I'm in a lecture, okay? Abu Hafs is busy. Abdul Malik is busy. So that's where I want to leave. What time is it?
6:45.
All right. So I think we're going to close it there for the questions and answers for 15 minutes, inshallah. But really, these are the things that will hopefully maximize our fasting. And I know you've heard a lot of them before. And in that case, it's a reminder for us to try to apply them. You know, try to keep off your bad. And if it is that you're waiting until Ramadan finishes to pick up bad habits again, then we're missing the point. Okay? This isn't the point. The Ramadan is supposed to be a springboard into better things, not just us, you know, doing whatever we want and leaving it off for 30 days. And then after that, we go back to haram relationships and other madness. Like, I know brothers who do that, right? I'm going to get rid of my girlfriend for 30 days. Get rid of her forever, inshallah, or marry her, or to have done with it. None of this stuff. So don't use Ramadan as an intermission between your bad habits. So you're counting the days, not until Eid, but until you can go back to doing bad things. Nasal Allah ta'ala afiyah. May Allah give us the afiyah and the success to properly implement this month, starting with myself, as well as all of you. Jazakumullahu khairan. وَذَلِكَ مَا عِنْدِي وَصَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَى سَيِّدِنَا مُحَمَّدٍ وَعَلَى آلِهِ وَصَحْبِهِ وَسَلَّمَ تَسْلِيمًا كَثِيرًا. So now we want to do the Q&A, if there is one. There isn't too many usually here, so it's good.
First question.
Oh, come on, man. Really? MashaAllah. I thought you were going to do it. Okay.
Where's your favorite place to break fast on a Saturday?
Where's my... on a Saturday? Not like a Monday or Tuesday? Well, right now it's going to be here, depending on what they have. Just kidding. I don't know if I have a favorite place. I like my house, personally. I think my house is great. Cornbread and meatloaf, mashed potatoes and collard greens and all that good stuff. So every other place is probably second, but my house is probably my favorite. Yeah. May Allah keep us all with our families, because it's oftentimes the place that I break fast the least. So I'm never home. So may Allah keep us all together.
Sorry, Sheikh, I have a question.
Do you think, brother?
What's your favorite sunnah act of Ramadan?
Favorite sunnah act of... I like tahajjud. I actually really enjoy that. I think that... And may Allah allow us to do that outside of Ramadan, because it's a sunnah that actually transcends Ramadan too. Qiyam. It's kind of something that we do in Ramadan. So it's amazing that Allah has invited you to communicate with Him in the last third of the night. It's incredible to me. As growing up as a non-Muslim, that Allah has such a personal relationship with us. It's amazing to me. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. Like all these things, I used to tell the brothers, they'll come to us, and we've done this recently, where a brother really wants to get married, and you tell him, pray tahajjud. And he looks at you like you're crazy. Like, what do you mean, pray tahajjud? You're supposed to have a girl lined up. Like, what's wrong with you? You're a speaker. Don't you know any girls that are single? I'm like, nope. But I know if you pray tahajjud, Allah knows all of the ladies who are single. Right? If you don't want it, if you really want something bad enough, and you're not praying tahajjud for it, you don't really want it. So start that, inshallah, this month of Ramadan. That's my personal favorite sunnah of Ramadan. I like fasting too. Fasting is one of the things that has always kind of been easy for me a little bit, I guess. So, Allahumma ja'alna min as-sa'imin. Those are the two things I would say. Which both can be done. Like, that's the thing. The sunnah of Ramadan, I can't think of one that cannot be done outside of Ramadan, except for Zakatul Fitr. I don't know of any one that can be done outside of Ramadan. Is there one? All of them can be done outside of Ramadan, can't they? Taraweeh is Qiyam. You can do that outside of Ramadan. Not in the way that we do it, lined up with the people like that. But Qiyam is similar. Right? 30 days straight, okay, fair enough. But you can fast outside of Ramadan. You can fast the Mondays and Thursdays and the white nights and so on and so forth. So they're different, but like they're intensified in Ramadan. But you can do them similarly outside of Ramadan, right? You can be generous outside of Ramadan. If any of y'all have $1 million for the dawah, I'll be outside. Hey, put it out there. You never know who's here. I don't know who's here. MashaAllah. Muslim Youth Media also needs your support, so you want to help them as well. They're here. Brothers here.
Another question.
Sure.
You mentioned earlier, instead of doing once a week, you do 3 at night, Qiyam al-Layl.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mean Qiyam al-Layl like Tarawih, or you mean Tahajjud?
This is a tricky question. Does it mean Taraweeh or Qiyam? I was referring to Qiyam. Me personally, I was referring to Qiyam al-Layl. That's what I was referring to. Tahajjud or Taraweeh is something that we tend to do in a group during Ramadan. I guess that's one of the sunnahs that can only be done, like the brother had said. So I was referring to Qiyam. I was referring to the last third of the night. Like when you get up for your suhoor, pray 3 rak'ah if you can. If that's all you can do that. 5, 7. Muhammad sallallahu prayed up to 11. Is that right? Do that. I was referring to Qiyam. Jazakallah khair. Which can be done every day anyway, outside of Ramadan.
Ask if there's any questions from the sisters upstairs.
Are there any for the sisters upstairs? How can they send them down? You should have a bird. You should just get an eagle and put it on its leg and let it fly down. The questions from the sisters. No, because there's no way for them to communicate unless they yell, unless they have a microphone or something, right? If the kids can bring them, I don't know if they have any or not.
I have one more question.
All right,
Relevant now.
inshallah.
For Siyam Ramadan, some people start fasting one day earlier.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about Laylatul Qadr, is it specific day or what does it mean?
Allah allow us to reach Laylatul Qadr. All of these stuff, when I was a new Muslim, it used to confuse me a lot. Because brother called it Moon Wars. Abu Shahada called it Moon Wars. And like Star Wars, but it's Moon Wars instead, right? Because we really battle back and forth on when to start, yarhamukumullah. And it's like, you try your best to follow. Me, I followed Mecca, and the reason for that was because the Qibla is there. Muhammad ﷺ came there. The Quran was revealed there. Ramadan started there. All these different things. And this is when things get confusing. But I have no issue with anyone who followed North America. I have no problem with that at all. Because from a fiqh standpoint, inshallah, both are valid. So may Allah allow us to reach Laylatul Qadr. And hopefully it wasn't the very first night. Inshallah. We'll catch it, inshallah ta'ala. But again, if you pray all the nights, inshallah, you'll catch it, right? So we try not to argue and get in. Because this unity is more important than who started when and who started where and who does all these stuff. And apparently the moon was a bit old, so, mashallah. Allah accept it.
I have a question. I started fasting on Thursday, but some people started on Wednesday. Do I have to replace the fast after?
I heard that if you have a doubt in it, then you can if you want. If you think that you've made a mistake, I'm going to do that. I think I made a mistake. I should have started Wednesday. I'm going to do that afterwards. So Allah knows best, inshallah.
Brother, what's your favorite chapter reflected on during this one?
Not a chapter as such. I like the ayat Allah used to describe Himself. Those وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ هُوَ اللَّهُ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ عَالِمُ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ هُوَ الرَّحْمَنُ الرَّحِيمُ. Like the end of Surah Al-Hashr. Any ayah where Allah describes Himself. right? That you're one nation and I'm your Lord. فَاتَّقُونَ. To be mindful of Him. Anything where Allah describes Himself. I'm really a person who... That is actually what brought me into Islam, really. Is that complete, perfect tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That concept that I never had before. So in Ramadan or out of it, I really enjoy those ayat. Specifically. They have an effect on me. I like those ayat. Because growing up, they used to have pictures of Jesus and pictures in the churches, right? I was kind of a Christian before. And I used to get upset because everybody else can see God but me, right? The pictures are flat. You can't touch them. You can't feel them. So when I entered Islam, the concept of Allah not being like His creation was something that was amazing to me because it brings us all on an equal playing field, right? You can see, but I can't. None of us get to see Allah until Jannah bi'idhnihi ta'ala. So these are the things I like to read about, are these ayat of Allah. And the ayat of Jannah as well, and the ayat of Jahannam, ayat of Al-Akhirah. I like these ayat, specifically in Ramadan. Alright?
I have a question over here. It's just, I want to know how exactly, like what events caused you to first think that Islam is actually the real religion? Like what did you do, or what happened in your life when you thought, wow, Islam is actually the right thing?
I mentioned him a bit earlier. I read a lot about Malcolm X, Malik Shabazz, rahimahullah, when I was a kid. I grew up around a lot of black kids, Afro-Canadian kids. Because to them, when I grew up with them, my eyesight was never an issue. Right? We all kind of got along and I didn't even know what black, I still don't know the concept of black to this very day. Colors mean absolutely nothing to me. They're just descriptive words. Right? Something's black, something's white. These are just words to me. So growing up, I just gravitated towards people who treated me well, and they ended up being Afro-Canadian or black kids, which led me to read about their history, which led me to read about Malcolm X, rahmatullah alayh, which led me to this oneness of Allah, this concept in Islam that he presented in the way that he could, with the little knowledge that he had of the oneness of Allah. And I love that concept of it, because you can't find it anywhere else. No one else really has it. Some people have it, but it's not complete. Like, for example, the Christians, they have a Trinity. So there's a man involved. Right? Is that right? So the idea of worshiping a man, as great as that man was, to me was obnoxious. It was offensive. I'm like, no, I can't. He's a person. Like, I'm a person. He's a person. Okay, he's a better person than me, but then who created him? So this idea of muwahida, of complete perfect oneness, is only in Islam. I have only seen it in Islam. I don't believe it is in any other faith, as far as I'm aware. And then, of course, all the different rules that come with that. Not eating pork because Allah said not to, praying 5 times a day, having that communication with Him, Jalla wa ala, fasting for His sake, giving as a source of investment for the person who's giving. All these things, Colin, fell into place with me. And the Messenger of Allah, ﷺ, his character, all the other messengers that came before him and their characters, everything just kind of fit into one place. But the first piece of that puzzle was the oneness of Allah. And that's what actually brought me into Islam. I don't know if I answered. I kind of ranted a little bit, but that was it. Other things, in the Quran is the complete cure of racism. In the Quran, yarhamukumullah. The complete cure to poverty is in the Quran as well. In the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, right? All of these things are there. We just we'd rather ask the UN, we'd rather go to the UN and ask them for our rights than pray tahajjud for them, for some reason.
Question
Right.
from sisters.
Sorry. Yep.
How do you give dawah if you don't know enough or you're afraid to approach people?
How do you give da'wah if you don't know enough or are afraid to approach people? That's good, actually. Jazakallah khair. People tend to think that da'wah is only speaking. Right? That you have to go up to people on the street and talk to them. And that's definitely part of it, but it's not the only part. So what if that same person who doesn't know much or who is introverted can support the da'wah in some way? Right? They can write well, or they can donate a little bit every month to support the da'wah. What happens then? You're still getting the da'i's reward. So da'wah is multifaceted. It's not just, talking. Speaking is only part of it. right? Like when I go to when we do dinners and events and stuff, for example, the speakers have their job, the people who cook the food have their job, the people who clean the hall have their job, the people who print the flyers have their job. All these different stuff are part of da'wah as well, right? So it's not just one thing. So try to find a way that you can be involved in it without necessarily speaking. I know of some sisters who write. They write a lot of articles. They don't speak to anybody. They just write a lot. I know business people who donate. They don't speak either. They just support the da'wah from behind the scenes and they donate. They find causes to support. They find speakers to support. Whatever it is that you can do, try to fit in somewhere, inshallah. And don't think because you're not flying all over the world that you're not important. You're extremely important. Because Allah knows the abilities that He gave you. And He knows what you're doing to maximize those abilities. Jazakumullah khair.
Next question, sisters. If we pray winter prayers with Jama'ah, then still we can wake up before Suhoor and pray Nafil?
It's better to curtail the witr. Like if you know you're going to pray more, then just pray 2 rak'ah with the people and then pray your witr at home. Is that right?
Yeah, they could pray with the Imam.
Yeah.
And they pray the whole night.
Then they've prayed the whole night. Once you've prayed with the imam witr, you've prayed the whole night. So you're good, inshallah. But if you want to pray more, pray 2 with the imam and then pray a little bit more at home if you wish to do that. But as far as we know that once you've prayed witr with the imam, then you've prayed the whole night. So you don't really need to do more, inshallah, after that. Once you've done your witr, that's it. Wait till fajr. Or pray nafil at home before the witr.
I have a question. The Tabligh people, they say 3 days, 40 days, 3 months. Are these inventions?
You want to get me killed, brother? Come on, man. I like Malcolm. I don't want to die up here. Rahmatullah alayh. You need to ask someone who's a bit more knowledgeable than me about that. I haven't heard of any of these things, and I don't know why they use those numbers. I'm not quite sure why they do that. But I don't want to. I mean, the Tablighi Jamaat have had always a lot of kindness and good manners towards me. So I don't want to go and like attack them or refute them up here. May Allah guide us all to what pleases Him and what He is best pleased with. I've never heard of these things in the Sunnah, though. To be fair. But we.
I have another question.
All right.
Out of all the Islamic ulum, what
Wow.
should our ummah prioritize on in terms of one's and
Tawheed. It's really a one-word answer because we've lost that to a certain degree. We study a lot of different things, but we have lost the focus on the oneness of Allah. We need to start from basics, very basic steps. The oneness of Allah, learn that, perfect that to the best of your abilities, and then we move on to the other things. Because that's the first pillar of Islam. And if that pillar is shaky, then the whole building will be shaky. But when that pillar is strong, all the other pillars will be strong, inshallah. So I think that we like to focus on a lot of other things. And this is the one thing that we tend to not focus on. I remember asking little kids about the 5 pillars of Islam, and Tawheed was almost an afterthought to them. Right? I'm very big on that. I actually really am. Every other pillar was mentioned, Tawheed was mentioned as almost an afterthought. So we need to really focus on that. That's something we've left behind us and we've neglected it tremendously. So we say things like we fast to feel what poor people feel. Right? We say these weird things because we're ashamed to say that we fast because Allah ordered us to fast. Or we think that interchanging Allah with God is okay, and it really isn't. I cringe when I see Muslims doing that. Allah is the name He gave Himself. And if you're trying to explain it to non-Muslims, explain it to them. They might fall in love with the concept like I did. They might fall in love with the concept that you worship Allah because that's the name He chose for Himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala, among others, right? So I think that's something we need to really focus on a lot more. Not to say that we should leave off the other things, but that should be a focal point for us. No.
Any other questions, brothers?
I have one question for you. Is that gaining interest and paying interest, is it considered the same in Islam? What's the overall ruling on it?
فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. We need to try to avoid it as much as we can. These are like tough questions here, man, mashallah. in today's society, it's all going to be dusted with interest anyway. You're going to see that. And that doesn't mean you should insist on it and say, well, I don't care because everyone takes it. Try to avoid it, inshallah, as best as you can. It's hard to do that, but don't insist on it. You know?
Is it giving interest and taking interest the same level in Islam or is it different?
Is taking it and I don't know, would you want to take it?
No.
If Allah, it's the one thing that Allah promised war for. I don't want to risk it. Personally, if I could avoid it, I'd like to. Allah didn't say فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولٍ for anything else other than that in the Quran. To prepare yourself. Can you imagine going to war with Allah? Okay. You can? No, okay. I was like, you need to be up here. I need to listen to you. I can't, it's incredible. فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولٍ. So, yes, you're going to have dustings of it because that's kind of how the society runs nowadays, right? But, don't, like the argument of saying, okay, well, we need to buy houses, for example, right? That's people say darura to have a house. Okay, even if we take that argument and say that's a legit argument, it's not darura to have 5 of them. All right? Like brothers will have condo buildings owned by Muslims bought on riba. Like, why are we doing that? Do you have to do that? Like, try to minimize your intake of it. Try to minimize it because Allah promised war from it. That should be enough reason not to do it, or at least to try not to do it. And then if you meet Allah, well, this is it. Like, you tried your best anyway. You don't have to buy 5 houses. How many families, unless you have 4 wives, brother, you got 4 wives? Absolutely. Hey, what's your name, brother? Simon. How you doing, Simon? You want to come up? We'll talk to you. I can't see you from back there, brother.
Can you tell them a little bit about yourself? Because he's still nervous.
Don't be nervous, man. Don't be nervous. I can talk to these people with my eyes closed. How you doing, Simon?
Good. How are you?
You all right?
Yeah.
So, the idea of you wanting to become Muslim, is that something that you're interested in?
Yes.
What do you know about Islam so far?
I know that there's only one God.
Uh-huh.
Right? He's the creator of all.
Okay.
I know that everything is predestined.
Wow, you believe in the Qadr already. MashaAllah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know that God sent messengers and prophets?
Yes. Yes.
Prophets like Adam and Abraham and Isaac,
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, Jesus, Moses, David, Solomon, ending with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Peace be upon them all. So what do you believe about Jesus?
About Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that he's a prophet.
Do you believe that he's the son of Allah?
No.
Thank you very much. You're making this easier and easier. All right, so mashallah. So what about Muhammad? What do you believe about him?
I believe he's also a prophet.
And he's the last and final messenger?
Yes.
All right, well, I'm going to help you in Arabic, inshallah. And I'm also going to help you in English. How about that?
Definitely.
All right, so we're going to do it in Arabic first. Ashhadu
Ashhadu
an
an
la ilaha. Okay, la
la
ilaha
ilaha
illallah illallah
illallah
wa ashhadu
wa ashhadu
anna
anna
Muhammadan
Muhammad
Rasulullah.
Rasul
Allah.
Allah.
Mashallah, bro. So what you just said was, I bear witness. You all right? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Mashallah, brother. Just make dua for us, man. Now yeah, because you need to understand something. I'll tell you in English what you just said, but what you just said is, I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship besides Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Now, an interesting thing happens to you right now that isn't happening to us right now. How old are you?
21.
Hey, I was 21 when I took Shahada. MashaAllah. That was a long time ago. Whew, maybe in 20 years you'll be up here. What happens to you is that all of your mistakes that you've ever made in the 21 years you've been alive, no matter what they are not erased, as some people would say. They are changed into good deeds. Right? So your good deeds stay with you. Whatever you've done good, you're good to your parents, you're good to your friends, you're good to people, you do those things. That stays with you. But your mistakes, they go in a sense because they're turned into good deeds. So you need to pray for us, bro. Really, because we don't have that. I mean, I had it when I was 21. It's been a while. So I done made some mistakes between now and then. So you need to pray for us, Simon. Really, man. And try your best to learn your salat. That's probably the first thing I would say. Learn about the oneness of Allah. And I'm sure our brother Abu Shahada here will help you with that for some book references and whatnot. Because both of us became Muslim before. So, you know, we're kind of on the same road here. We're just a little bit ahead of you in terms of time. But the good thing is that we've hopefully paved it a little bit, so your road will be easier than ours was, inshallah. So what I would say is learn about that. Learn about the oneness of Allah. And yeah, man, we're here. We're your brothers. Jazakallah khair, bro. MashaAllah. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, you sure? We're going to end it with that because he's going to, you got to meet the brother and give him salams. And please, guys, one thing I would say is our brother has some rights on us and we need to fulfill those rights. And Simon, don't be afraid, man. You need to come out here. I bugged everybody. When I became Muslim, I drove people crazy. So do that. If you need to know something, you need something, the brothers can help you. Please do that. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.